gozaimasu.
Ohio gozaimasu. You're gonna do this every episode where...
Yeah, because you don't say it right.
I just say it so fast that you're like, he's saying it wrong.
Alright, say it one more time.
Ohio gozaimasu.
Okay, that sounds good.
See, I just say it too fast.
Maybe that's your problem.
Oh, it is my problem. I'm just slurring the words. Anyway, welcome everybody to We Be Simpin' episode 7.
Yep.
I'm Connor.
I'm Taylor.
And we were going to record this podcast a little sooner, but we had to, well, we didn't have to, but we delayed it a week because you got into a little accident.
I got into an accident?
You know, with your...
I thought we delayed it because you didn't have any dads.
Okay, well, you know, I was trying to add a little bit more drama to the back, to the behind the scenes.
I got my list ready the same day we recorded the Moms episode.
But you broke your back, is what I was trying to say.
I did not break my back.
Alright, well then explain to the audience what happened.
Do you want the whole story, or do you want it in a nutshell?
However you want to tell the story.
I was squatting down to pick up something heavy when suddenly my lower spine did this weird crackly and then a squish.
Crackly squish.
Yeah. And then I was in and out of pain. I still hurt, but it's not as bad. It's gotten better by the day. I believe it might be a herniated disc.
A herniated disc.
Yeah.
Which is apparently a thing.
Yeah, that's where the soft disc between, like, each, like, between the bones, you know, to cushion it.
Like the cartilage?
Squeezes out.
It's like a cartilage thing?
I guess it's sort of like cartilage, but they call them soft discs.
Okay.
Or at least that's what they, all over
That's
the
what
internet.
Wikipedia said.
That's what everything on the internet says, or calls them. Or like the soft plates. It's where they start squeezing out. And it causes pain. So I had like some sciatic pain. And some pain in my tailbone because of it too. That's all apparently normal. And they say if severe pain persists more than 6 weeks, then go see a doctor.
Well, it's been like, what, about a week-ish now?
Come Wednesday, it will be a week.
Okay, so... But yeah, you've been resting, relaxing. I've been trying to do much more around the house so you don't have to work as much and walking around. So, and you're doing your stretches and stuff, but you're getting back to the same groove again, slowly but surely.
Yeah.
But just thought we'd mention that you popped your back.
Something happened. Something despicable.
Before we get into our topic, of course, do you want to talk about an anime rec?
Wow.
I mean, we watched a movie during the weekend. I thought we could talk about it.
Yes, what movie did we watch?
Lost in Starlight.
That was so good.
You want to talk about it?
Yes.
Okay. You want to go first? Or you want me to go?
You go first.
Okay. Well, I briefly saw this, you know, right before we watched Rose of Versailles. I actually found out about this anime at the same time. So it's an original. It is a Korean anime movie that takes place in, I think, Korea, Seoul?
Yeah.
Is that in South Korea? Which Korea is that? It's in Seoul. And it starts off with the main character, Yeon. South Korea?
Yeah.
Okay. And it starts with Yeon, and I always kept saying none your business. Yeon, who her mom went to Mars. And something terrible happened there where she died. And so her daughter decides to try to follow in her footsteps and go to Mars to kind of find out what happens at the same point. Doing so, she kind of growing up, she, when she's like in her, late 20s, early 30s, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know how old she is.
They never established that.
It's, if she was like around... like, let's say 5 or 6 years old in those flashbacks.
It's like a 20-year jump.
Which is 2025.
Yeah.
And it's like the year 2050 now.
It's like 2051,
so we can assume that she's in her, like, early 30s or so.
Yeah. So she's, like, in her early 30s, and she runs into a man who is a musician. And they kind of just hit it off and get closer together, and they... fall in love, and then she has to go to Mars, and that's basically the premise of it. But I'll I mean, I don't want to spoil the whole
Oh
film.
yeah, no.
So.
But we should say it's really beautifully done. It's a great story. I think did you even cry?
I cried at the end because I thought it was really emotional with
Yeah.
like some of the tones that they were setting in the music, and like because they were coinciding some of his troubles with her troubles, and by the end it was kind of converging together,
Yeah.
and it was really beautiful because like he's singing and she's going through stuff on Mars, and I thought that was
Yeah.
very interesting to correlate the two, and I got very emotional by the end, and
Yeah.
and what I really like about it is that it sets its tone in like 2051 or something, and I really appreciate how like futuristic it's plausible. How plausible the future tech would be
It feels like that's what it's gonna be like
in 25
in
more years.
25 years.
So unlike like when we get like the Jetsons having flying jets in 2000 or Back to the Future with hoverboards, and I'm like. And like gas is milk now, like milk is like the fuel for cars and such. Growing up, I always thought we were gonna have milk as gas.
That was so weird because I never once thought about that.
You never did.
No. To me, gas was gas. And milk was something that I didn't want to drink.
And you still don't to this day.
I will drink chalky milk.
But that's it.
That's it.
But yeah, it just felt very plausible because a lot of the stuff they're doing is like they don't even, everything's like screens, everything's AR. But I just found it very plausible, and I was like, wow, we could be living in this kind of future in like 2025, and it was cool to see it in South Korea, and it was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Very beautifully animated, and I really like seeing that we're not just sticking to like Japan studios, but we're actually like bleeding into like, the manhwas are getting adapted now into really good anime. We're getting movies like this. We're getting Chinese animation now with what we've mentioned previously, but To Be Hero X is just phenomenal.
Right.
And this is a Chinese studio doing this, and I'm like, this is nothing I've ever seen before. And the same thing with this movie. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. I mean, the story is, kind of, the not run of the mill, but like something I've seen or heard before, give or take, more or less. But I just thought it was very, very beautiful and something I've never seen before in animation. And I implore you guys to check it out. Lost in Space. Wait.
Lost in
Starlight. Lost in Starlight. Sorry, that's a different show. Lost in Starlight. So check that one out. Do we have any more, or do you want to just leave it there?
Oh, man. I would probably leave it there for this episode unless we think of something.
No, I'm good. Let's leave it there, because I remember our last episode, we kind of did like 3 recommendations, which was great. But I really wanted to highlight this one we just watched, so
Right, absolutely.
really excited. So
It was really good.
check it out, guys. Netflix, it's out now. And let us know what you guys think down in the comments below.
Yes, please do.
Well, let's go to our main topic today.
Excellent. You want to talk about?
I'm getting there.
Like ad-lib something?
I'm trying.
Go for it.
So, like last week, we did Mother's Day a little late, but we want to be on board
Pretty
with
late.
a few weeks, about a month. But we wanted to at least cover the dads of anime.
Yeah.
Whether it is dads, father figures of some sort, we want to talk about all the great dads in anime, and just like what we did with Mother's Day, we chose at least 3 to 5 that we want to discuss with you and talk about. And I want to give
with you almost sounded like the audience was in trouble. Carry on.
Yeah, we're gonna have a deep discussion with the audience about their dads.
Yeah.
But I thought we'd start out with you. You take the reins. You go first with your first pick.
My first pick. My first dad.
Your first dad.
Alright, my first pick is Kakushi Goto.
I knew you were gonna do this one.
Alright.
What is that his name?
His first name is Kakushi, and his last name is Goto.
So the show is just his name?
It's his name. Yeah, Kakushi Goto from Kakushi Goto. Father to his daughter, Hime. Hime Hime.
Hime Goto.
I wrote it twice. He is an adult mangaka.
Isn't it like a raunchy one?
His work focuses on explicit humor.
Mm-hmm.
But he hides that fact from his daughter. So, the interesting thing, his wife is missing, so he's raising their daughter by himself while trying to hide his career from her. He is a dedicated and attentive father, loving and prioritizing Hime's well-being and happiness. So despite keeping his career secret from her... Oh, here's an interesting tidbit. This story is actually inspired by the actual mangaka's real-life experiences of being a parent working in a field that is potentially embarrassing.
That's fun. I did not know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about it? Some things? Stuff?
Koji Kumeta?
Say that again?
Koji Kumeta?
Mm-hmm.
That is the mangaka who made Kakushi Goto. And that's like his experiences.
Okay.
Based off of him.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's really interesting.
And I'm bringing it back. I got fun facts.
Yes, I love your fun facts.
Kakushi Goto can be translated as secret drawing job.
It's perfect.
Kakushi Go can mean illegitimate child, but his name, Kakushi, means long time. Like Ka, long time. Ku, samurai warrior. And Shi means gentleman. Goto is rear, remainder. And then To is wisteria. Love and success.
I love your fun facts.
Thank you.
They're great.
I'm glad you like this.
I don't do that much homework on the names, and I'm glad you do. So.
I think it's so interesting. And then I realize how much thought they actually put into naming their characters.
Yeah, I think that's intentional.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I like that's intentional. Like,
yeah,
with some of the names,
right?
It's like a little nod or like foreshadowing a little bit with some of their names. But I really love Kakushi Goto.
Oh yeah,
did I say that right the first time?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, high five. Yeah, I really like this one. Before I delve into it, and I don't want to spoil the ending of the show, but I want to address that every father we talk about probably is going to have some minor spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like the story because it's starting. This is not. I mean,
this isn't really a spoiler.
Yeah,
if I'm thinking what you're about to say,
if you start at the beginning of the story, the pilot, it's kind of intention. Like it's intended to think that he is dead at this point. So
the story is mainly told in her memories of her father,
which I think is really brilliant for storytelling. Like it's already
for
in the
some reason he's not around anymore.
Yeah, and it's assumed at that point that he is dead, and you kind of just have to watch the show to figure out what exactly happened with him to get to a conclusion. And this is a one anime that I really like that feels like a one-off. Like, don't have to ever do another season. Don't have to do spin-offs. This is like a one and done, 12 episode arc? Well, something like that. I really enjoy that. And for him specifically as like a single dad, which I think you probably have a couple more on your list that are single dads. Yeah, I've noticed a lot that the best dads in anime, it's 12 episodes. Yeah. I've noticed a lot in anime that there's a lot of just single dads that
or just
make the
single
highlights.
Parents in general.
Yeah, and that just kill it, you know. And we mentioned that last episode with mothers. Like a lot of the mothers we mentioned were sort of single mothers, like I did with Wolf Children and Fruits Basket we talked about. So I thought that was a really cool
and Toradora and Erase.
Exactly. So like. I think they highlight them more, though they are great parents together, and I think we have some on this list too that are still parents. But I just like his determination. I love the lengths he would go to hide the fact that he makes raunchy manga, to the point that he dresses up in a business suit every morning and then runs to a different building and then changes his clothes and runs to the building he actually works at. which I just find that's so funny.
Right.
And like this whole time, and again, she's like, what, 5 at this point?
She's very young.
She's very young, so she doesn't know what exactly he does other than he just, like, he told her that, like, oh, I'm a businessman. I'd make business. Or I don't remember. It's been a couple of years, but I just do business stuff.
I make business happen. I don't know.
Business things happen, and there's just like a lot of funny. It's a really funny anime.
Oh yeah, it's great.
But it's also very beautiful, and I remember myself really getting emotional with some of the scenes with like him and his daughter just growing up. You know, like him raising her and teaching her right from wrong. But really good choice for your first one. I think that's a really good one to go on strong.
To hear who your first dad is.
All right, check it out there.
Check it out.
It's really good. 12 episodes. You guys could probably, that's like, again, that is one that you could sit on a weekend and just enjoy.
Yeah. And if you're binge watchers, you
like,
could get that done in a sitting.
We've binge watched an entire show before.
Oh yeah, we've done that many, many times.
I don't think that was one, but that was close.
Yeah, I think we watched
That's
that
like a 3-sitter
over the
for
course
us.
of like a couple days. Yeah.
That was really good. Well, my first pick, and I had to start off strong, like you did.
Yeah.
It's Thor's from Vinland Saga.
Oh, hell yeah.
Again, spoilers. I'm going to spoil some stuff with Vinland Saga.
Yeah, so if you don't want to hear it, skip ahead. Or
Yes.
something.
Please pause and watch Vinland Saga because it is a masterpiece anime. It's in my top 3. I've often thought about where I would put Vinland Saga, and it's probably number 1, if not 2. But I often think it's number 1.
Okay.
But that's a different topic for another day. So I'm gonna go back a little bit because Thor's is a Viking warrior. This takes place in like a period piece of like of historical fiction, obviously. With Vikings and whatnot, and what we had. These are real characters too, which is crazy. Like
people, based off of real people.
Yes, and Thor's is a Viking, a very powerful Viking, and he used to be this warrior of mass destruction who could kill anyone that he saw. But one day, he decides to stop fighting. He just gets sick and tired of it, and he's seeing all the death, and where does that lead him? And he decides to fake his death and settle down somewhere with his wife and have kids and live a peaceful life. And that's where we are introduced with Thorfinn, his second child.
Yeah.
But Thor's is a really amazing dad who shows... He shows Thorfinn what it means to be a true hero. Or sorry, not a true hero. A true warrior.
Yeah.
In the sense. And he gives him all this advice so early on in his life. But obviously with Thorfinn being like, I want to go out and see the world, and I want to fight, and I want to be in a war, and he's so young and he's so naive at this point where he doesn't realize what his dad is telling him, and he just wants to fight and kill people. And Thor's is telling him the most important thing that I really love the most about Thor's is that he guides him to be a true warrior, because this is what Thor's learned after many conquests and fights in war, where you have no enemies. And that's something that sticks true to the entire show and the series, is that he tells his son, I have no enemies.
Yeah.
You have no enemies.
Yeah.
As well. No one has any enemies. No one needs to fight. And that's something he tries to tell him over and over before Thor's untimely demise. You know, he basically gave up his life to protect his son. And that's something that I just find, you know, that is a true warrior right there. You know, him protecting his family and teaching him the rights and wrongs, even though he won't listen at the time. But I'm glad it just kind of rang through him.
Sunk in as he got older.
And it's very tragic.
I think Askeladd really helped him realize that.
And then that's something I wanted to mention still, is that we have the second father in this story to an extent.
Yeah.
I don't think Askeladd's a good dad. He's not a great dad.
Yeah.
But he did have some impact on Thorfinn
He
one way or
definitely
another.
did.
And he did tell him how to be a true warrior by the end. So that's something also. But do you want to speak anything about Thor's or maybe Askeladd or?
I mean, now I thought you did a good job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that was Thor's from Vinland Saga. Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil most of that.
Oh, you gave them
arcs.
warning.
I gave you warning, so that's my first pick. Yours?
Alright, my second pick. Now these are not in any particular order of like best to least or least to best.
But I mean, you chose really high,
Yeah.
so I mean, you're just
Right.
going down
I'm
now.
just listing some that are worthy of mentioning, in my opinion. Next is Ryoji Fujioka from Oran High School Host Club, father of Haruhi. He is a professional cross-dresser at a bar who prefers going by the name Ranka. He often acts as both a mother and father figure for Haruhi. So he shows his daughter that she shouldn't be afraid to be herself, despite the fact that he's always dressing her up in girly stuff. He is caring, kind, and protective. He's cheery, flamboyant, which I think taught his daughter tolerance.
Mhm.
Especially when she gets to the host club. There's another flamboyant and cheery person in the host club, which you could tell sort of grates on her nerves. But she has such patience with him.
Because of her dad.
Because of her dad, I feel like. Which is a great trait to have. Tolerance and patience. She is very laid back and a hard worker and independent. And I think those are sort of things that most parents hope their children will be. So, and I think Ryoji did a great job.
Fun facts?
Yes, I got fun facts. Fun facts. Ryoji. Ryo means cool, refreshing. Ji means two.
Okay.
So I sort of take that as like he's both the father and the mother.
Yeah, I would take that too,
Alright.
yeah.
And Fujioka. Fuji means wisteria, and Oka means ridge, hill. Yes.
Interesting.
I know. I just think that's probably like a nice. Or he has a hill of love for his daughter or something. I don't know.
However you want to interpret it.
Exactly.
But-
Anything you want to talk about?
I really like this pick. I was just thinking about this yesterday.
Yeah,
and
you even asked me.
I had to ask because I was like, I often do think about this as a good dad. Again,
Right.
single parent.
Single parent.
I just like that he shows Haruhi, that to be your true self,
Yeah.
to be who you want to be.
Yeah.
And he works so hard for the family that he has right now, obviously her and
Yeah.
him. But he works all the time, and we hardly see him. If I recall, he's like maybe a few episodes in the show.
Yeah.
But it really drives home how dedicated he is to providing for his family.
And I think it shows what an impact he's had on Haruhi.
Yeah, and he looks out for her in his own way.
Yeah.
Even though he can't be there all the time, but kind of like from afar.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that as a dad. And so somewhat of a mother too, because
Oh, yeah,
he's kind of
absolutely.
both at this point.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate that, and I really like the fact that he can be his true self
Right.
and still show that to his daughter, and like that's okay.
So there was like this one part, like in an episode where like he's thinking back to a time when Haruhi had just recently lost her mother, and he was like working hard to support them and whatnot, and he started getting into like cross-dressing more regularly,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like this school event where like you're supposed to bring a parent and they're supposed to, I think, talk about their jobs or something. And Haruhi, like being so young, she's like, I don't want you to come, but don't come to school. And then, which breaks Ryoji's heart. But he finds out later it's not because she was embarrassed by him or anything, but that she knew how hard of a worker he was, and she didn't want him spending his day off
Oh,
doing her work.
I forgot about that
Yeah.
episode.
Right?
That's so beautiful.
Sweet. So sweet.
So sweet. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say about him, but or them. I think they're a great dad. I think about that, and you were like, man, I didn't think you would think about that one. And
yeah, I did not think you would think about
when I mentioned it yesterday, because we were trying to keep it hidden, like who do we have?
Right.
So this is all like natural for us.
Yeah.
And I just had to ask him, like, did you get Warren High School Host Club? And you're just like, yes. And I'm like, I knew exactly who you got.
Yeah.
So we didn't talk about it after that.
The only worthy dad in that show.
Yeah. Isn't that the only dad we ever see?
No, we see a couple other fathers, and they're
not good.
dicks.
Oh, yeah. We see one of the Warren High School Host Clubs.
Two of them.
Two? Yes. Yes. I am now recollecting that.
Yeah.
That is one show that definitely needs like a reboot.
Yeah, they should totally do a reboot.
Or a continuation like with Black Butler did, where they just
It's been almost 20 years at this point. I think it's time for a reboot.
I would like a reboot like they did with Fruits Basket.
Yeah.
And that's a good pick. Love that one.
Thank you.
And I know I mentioned Fruits Basket, and I guess I'm going to segue into that because this is my next pick.
I almost chose this one.
So there is not a lot of good parenting in Fruits Basket, obviously, but the one that really takes the cake for best dad, it's not Toru's dad. I'm sorry. I'm going to mention...
Unfortunately not. I bet he would have been great.
I mean, again, and we've mentioned it last time, but he's dead at this point. So,
yeah.
But
to the point where Toru actually doesn't remember him.
Yeah, and she was very, very young.
Yeah.
But she spent more time with her mom, so
it
makes more sense. But I wanted to mention Kazuma Soma, which is a father-like figure for Kyo, which is one of our main characters.
He's the cat.
Yeah, he's the cat. He's the cat god, or whatever you want to call
it.
But I really love that we get this relationship with Kyo and Kazuma, because you see off the bat that a lot of the Somas have very bad parents.
Oh, yeah.
Or parents that just they think their children are cursed and they're not loved and they're just tossed aside. And that's something you see a lot in the show. And Kyo is the biggest one because he is the most hated god of them all, which is the cat.
Yeah.
Because in the story, I think the cat is, at least in the storybooks, it's like known for the cat to be the most evil.
Yeah, the cat is portrayed as like the villainous one.
And so he's cast aside the most, and you see that with his own family. His own family and his dad is the most abusive thing I've ever seen in the show. And you have this father-like figure that takes him in and just cares for him and understands Kyo. And Kyo is always this not silent, but like solo person. Like he's just always alone. Yeah. And even at the start, he's alone and doesn't want to be with anybody because everyone's pushed him aside except for Kazuma, who took him in and taught him the right things to do, and he's his dad in the end. I think, and I think that's very emotional. But what do you think about Kazuma Soma?
Well, I thought he was amazing because like all the other Somas, they all just disregard the cat, or they were like sort of spurned by the cat at a young age. But anyway. I love how he wasn't like afraid or deterred from taking in Kyo and raising him like a normal person should be raised. And he taught him like how to fight and stuff. And, like I thought that was really great. And then you see later on that like there are other Somas who are willing to hang around Kyo.
Over time, it's thanks to Toru. Really, Toru is the one that
I forget and he's in the show more than Kazuma, but the dog.
I'm trying to remember his name. I do not know his name right now. I know he's talking about though.
He was fine with Kyo from the get-go,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
The other Somas who had to come around, and Toru was really amazing at that.
Toru is the one that kind of brings the Somas together.
Yeah, but I think Kazuma was like the real. Like, the huge reason why Kyo would actually come around these people. And maybe give them a chance.
Yeah, and give him a chance. And it's hard to do that when he's been abandoned by his own family and kind of cast aside to the whole family. It's a fucked up family. Oh my God.
It's such a fucked up family.
Oh, like, I couldn't think of a better father in this show other than Kazuma.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Father-like figure. But other than obviously Tover's dad that we saw in the
see,
prequel,
yeah,
prelude,
in the
whatever.
movie,
You cried so hard.
my eyes out.
That movie, half of that movie is the last episode of Fruits Basket, and it got me. Just the first 30 minutes, I was like, why is this hitting so hard again another time? Where I'm like, this is so crazy.
Right.
Such an emotional roller coaster with that entire show, and it's so beautiful, and I'm so glad they rebooted the whole show, brought all of the original voice actors back. Amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing writing and story, and I'm so glad we got it finished in 3 seasons in a movie.
Love that too.
So that's my pick, Kazuma Soma.
That's a good pick.
Your next one?
My next one. Joseph Joestar from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
All right.
Father of Holly, grandfather to Jotaro, and he's also the father of Josuke.
We'll get to that in a little bit.
That. He made the list specifically for Holly.
Yes, and I would agree with that. I don't think he's a good husband. He's a good father. That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
I think he was probably a pretty good husband with
What's her name?
devious side. Okay, whatever.
You can just agree with me, okay?
Okay. You know what? He has his ups and downs, just like most men.
Fair.
So we don't actually see much of Holly in the show, or of his actual parenting of Holly. We do see a little bit of it when, now remember this, he reprimands Jotaro for being a bitch to his mom.
Yeah, was it first episode, second episode?
Yeah, that was like...
That was like the first couple episodes before they go on their European tour.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. And you know what? I will say we do see some more of him trying to be a good parent in Diamond is Unbreakable when he tries to connect with Josuke, because I'm thinking he probably didn't know he had the son until later, you know? He hopes to form a bond with him. But, going back to Stardust Crusaders, the main reason I included him on this list is because you see how far he was willing to go to save his only child's life at this point in time. That's not that, okay. But, which involves going to Egypt and fighting the evil Dio. That's a deadly mission right there.
Very deadly.
Yeah.
Fun facts?
They all did. No, I don't have any fun facts with Joestar's name. Because I think we all understand he has to be a JoJo.
He's a JoJo.
Yeah.
To be specifically,
Joestar, you have have to be a JoJo.
To be specifically, this is old JoJo. Because I don't consider, I mean, obviously you would know as well, but the regular Joseph that we see in Battle Tendency is not a father.
I specifically stated Stardust Crusaders and Diamond is Unbreakable.
Going forward.
He is not a father before then.
I mean, you said all the points I have about Joseph Joestar. And again, I've already said he's not a good husband. He's a good father. Because I agree. He goes to the ends of the world to save his only daughter. Well, legitimate daughter.
He has more than one daughter?
We don't know what he's been up to. Because apparently he had an affair and had Yosuke at a different time, okay? So that's a different story. But he goes to the ends of the world to connect, and save his child. And I think that is a very redeeming quality for a redeeming quality for Joseph Joestar, old Joseph Joestar. Yeah. So I'm glad you chose him.
Thank you.
You said all the right things.
Thank you.
Terrible husband.
I don't think he's that bad. Yeah.
Oh, so if I did the same thing?
Well, honey, you're not rich for one thing.
Oh, so if I was rich, this would all change. You'd be like, you know what? He's rich. I'll keep him a little longer.
Yeah, if you didn't have the money, I'd kick you right out now. No, I'm just saying. He's not, that's not the thing that would make him such an awful and horrible husband. It's that happened many years ago, but he stayed with me, and we just learned together he had a child.
So if I did that, you'd be okay? Hypothetically.
I would be pissed, just like his wife.
Yep.
But would that be enough to make me say that you were a terrible husband?
That depends on how he acted towards her.
Many good years together.
But it depends on how he acted towards her, you know.
I like to believe that he probably gave her a pretty decent marriage.
I am just pointing out some flaws in what, like, that he.
Let's do a role reversal.
Like, again,
what if it was me as a Joseph
are you
and
rich?
you? Oh yeah, are you making the same argument?
I guess I am. Are you rich?
In this scenario,
I'm a
yes.
gold digger.
In this scenario, yes. And I had a child with somebody else. Many years after
I can
our
see
child.
what you're saying. You know, like if I stuck with you and you stuck with me, and maybe that wouldn't have been so bad. Again, we never see Joseph and his wife together as much, and we never see how their relationship is, other than through phone calls.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to tell, you know, unless they had more time when they are together and see how their relationship was, because like they do it very quick in Battle Tendency, and then they just do a time jump, and he's already old and gray, and he's with her already at this point. So I'm like, I can't really speak towards
he was
how
with
they're
her at the very end of Battle Tendencies.
Yeah,
So we get to see a little snippet.
But
I think they were really good for each other.
Maybe so.
Because remember her face, what happens to her face in Vandal, that she manages to like get rid of all those scars. It's really nice, but I think they helped each other through their own stuff.
But good pick. Good pick. I can't think of a better dad though. Maybe Jonathan's dad, maybe.
But he took in Dio.
He did take in Dio, so yeah, that is a slight. I mean, that's worth. That's a terrible husband and father, if there ever was one.
Let his wife die in a carriage accident.
Yeah, I know, crazy. Who's a better father there?
I feel like Jonathan, if he could have lived, probably would have been the best dad.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anybody else, though, I'm like... I mean, Jotaro's technically is a father.
I don't think he was a great dad, but I feel like near the end, that's when he really stepped up to be a good dad to Jolene.
All right, anything else you want to say about Joseph? Other than being a terrible father? I'm a husband.
I mean, I don't think he was that terrible.
Anything else you want to say about it? No? Okay. Well, I only have one more.
That's why I went first.
So, my last pick is Akio Furukawa from Clannad.
I knew you were going to pick him. I almost picked him.
I'm going back to the well of Clannad, because I really loved, obviously, Sanai from Mother's Day. I chose her.
Yeah.
But I really think Akio is an extraordinary, compassionate father. He's a great husband. He eats all his wife's terrible cooking or baked bread, you know. He confronts Sanai by telling her how much he loves the bread by eating it all and shoving it down his throat. He's an amazing father. He takes care of Nagisa when she's even sick. He was extra cautious when she started to date Tomoya. He serves as a father figure to Tomoya also, and helped the latter in various situations. I love that he gave up his passionate dream to be a actor, to run a bakery with his wife and take care of his daughter. He's a very caring figure. He encourages his shy daughter out of her shell more and more, which is great. I mean, she's a very shy character that starts off very shy, and I think, you know, with her finding more friends, and Tomoya specifically, I think they, you know, she got out of her shell way more because of her parents' support and stuff like that. And I just think that's really caring. And even after, again, spoiler alert, Nagisa dies, but he's there for Tomoya and his granddaughter to pick up the pieces and take care of, you know, the granddaughter, and even help Tomoya in some ways. So I just think he's a great father figure for Tomoya, and he's a great father and husband towards Sanai and Nagisa.
Yeah.
So that's just I always think of him as probably one of the best dads in anime.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's willing to just sacrifice his dreams for his family, and I think that's something that's
every parent, at least if they're like good parents, they're gonna sacrifice a lot of their own stuff.
And he has no regrets on it too, which I think is really great. I think he has no regrets in that matter too.
I mean, we even see that when we're exploring his past of being an actor, and then when he like, there's nobody to watch his daughter, and then he's like, goes and he sees her, and she's like, has this awful fever, and so he's giving up the one chance he had to like continue acting, so he can care for his daughter and make sure she's well. And like that's like one of those moments.
You got goosebumps.
I know, I'm slightly chilled, but like not at the same time, you know. But like, yeah, you make sacrifices. You try to raise your children, like be a happy child, be independent, follow your dreams. Like do what I couldn't really, you know.
I like that. That's beautiful. You know.
If your dream is to have a family and have children, then follow that dream. If your dream is to do different stuff, then do that.
I'm glad he does that support for Nagisa, because I think Nagisa, like you said, she learns the truth about it later, you know, with his acting and stuff. Because I think he keeps that secret.
I think he did.
And it's only I think it's the only thing Senai knows, and never tells Nagisa.
Yeah, I mean, they both had different life goals.
Yeah.
And they fell in love and had Nagisa.
So he's a brilliant father.
Oh yeah.
Through and through, and a great father figure to Tomoya, and helps him out. And he becomes more of a father than his actual father.
Yeah.
Who some would argue is a good father, but I'm like, I understand his sympathetic pleas, or, you know, like sympathetic problems, but he was not a good father.
I don't think he was a good father.
No, he was not a good father.
I think
he was just in this huge depression after Tomoya's mom died, and just kind of just buried himself in debt, and
you could see he definitely takes after his dad in that arena.
Exactly, like father, like son. But it's thanks to it's thanks to Akio that helped him get back to that. Yeah, which is very beautiful by the end. And I still cry when he's on that trip with his daughter.
Yeah, it was hard.
Trying to look.
It's like, you could have spent all these years with your daughter. You fucked up, sir. You fucked up.
But it's beautiful at the end, you know. Beautiful. It's very beautiful and sad, and it makes you so emotional. Where he
like, this is what you get for not starting off as a good dad. No.
I understand, you know. He was in a depression, and it's very hard to get out of once you're in it. You know?
But I feel like if he had actually tried taking care of his child from the get-go, maybe he would have been able to enjoy a bit of, like, not only himself, but of his late wife in one package. Realize that she left him a nice little thing.
All right, well, that was Akio. I had some ones that I didn't really, like, flesh out. So, I mean, I have other choices, but But let's get to yours.
All right. My next one is Loman from the Apothecary Diaries. Now, I wasn't going to put him on my list.
He's a father-like figure.
He is a father-like figure. He adopted Mama and he raised her. And then I was thinking about, like, the whole show in general. I'm like, okay, yeah, he deserves to be on this list. Though Loman is a pushover, he is kind and very knowledgeable. His knowledge of medicines and poisons and right from wrong, and he's very observant, which are all things that he taught Mao, which are very important things. Let's see. Yeah, having taught her all these things, this knowledge has helped Mao in everyday life since her kidnapping in the first episode.
Spoiler alert!
Right. And she was sent to work at the Rio Palace. His teachings are the reason Mao can stay calm in most situations, and his past mistakes help her remember her place in society. These are things, I believe, that make Loman a great father. Plus, whenever Mao talks of him, her respect and adoration for him is so obvious. You wouldn't do that if you had, like, a scumbag. Think of, like, Lacan. I know he was an unintentionally bad father, because he had no clue about Mama and the whole
family. That's a very tragic story, too.
It's a very tragic story.
I would hope if he knew and things were different, I think he would have been a great dad. Yeah. I mean, you can see it now.
I feel like things would have been very different if it didn't play out the way it did.
Yeah, and I think you can see it now that he does care. Yeah. But at an arm's length, just because he's already kind of burned that bridge. Oh, and it's kind of, you know...
You could even say his... Lacan's own father burned that bridge for him.
Exactly.
By sending him away.
It's thanks to his dad that he lost this opportunity. Yeah. And
But it's thanks to Loman that Mao Mao is still sort of part of his life.
Yeah, like he picks up that piece and helps out his nephew at that point, and I think that's brilliant. I'll let you keep going. I know you have more things to say. Sorry.
He is in general a kind, humble, and charitable man. He refuses to vocalize any conjecture he may have.
Conjecture.
Conjecture.
Any fun facts?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Loman can have a few meanings, but there is a town in China named Loman that has many markets for traditional Chinese medicine materials.
Did you know there's also noodles that's called lo mein?
Yes, I do.
Do you think?
But anyway, other meanings are falling gate, building gate, and tower gate. Name a few. But I'm thinking his name was probably inspired by the actual town where they sell the traditional Chinese medicine.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Good pick. I like that one. Everything you said, I kind of just vibe off the same. Like, yeah, he teaches Mao Mao how to be like this composed woman in this society and teach her all these medicines and stuff. And obviously she has a knack for learning all this stuff and having some fascination towards it because she decided to test her arm and test all these all these poisons and stuff. So she gets some kind of kick out of this, and she's part of the family. The unique family. But yeah, I agree. Like, Loman is a great father figure, more than Lock-On could be at the time,
and you know, like, he can see what faces are like. So.
I'm glad Mao Mao doesn't have that deficiency or whatever heritage problem, hereditary thing, where if she could just see what figures of something on some people's faces.
She is very much like her dad in the way that she is obsessive. Mm-hmm. He's obsessed with like Go and shogi, and she's obsessed with medicines and poisons.
And Loman really teaches her how to survive this world. And
yeah.
I think that's something that is very important to this world, and also like a good way to make profit and make money possibly if she needed to. So like he guides her to the path of success.
He equipped her with knowledge and tools that women don't usually have in this world or were allowed to have.
So what gets her more deep into the rear palace, because that she has the knack to know how to read and write, and she's an apothecary and she knows poisons, and now she's, and it's, again, first episode spoilers, but she basically becomes a food taster and everything because she stuck her nose in something that she shouldn't have, and and that's where she
pretty much catapults the entire series.
Exactly. So, great pick.
Thank you.
I love that one. Thanks. Now I had one that I just didn't write out or flesh.
Yeah.
That I wanted to at least mention, and that is Toru Kirishima from Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting.
Oh, hell yeah.
I wanted to, again, father-like figure.
So yeah, not the real father.
Not the real father, but I often think about him as a great fatherly figure towards I'm trying to remember her name, didn't do my research, but I wanted to mention him because he takes care of like the Yakuza's like daughter, and he's like the right hand man of the Yakuza leader and stuff, and I find that he helps her and has fun.
Stick him on babysitting duty because he was like too rough.
Yeah, he was too aggressive and stuff. So I don't have much to say because I don't have my own thoughts and opinions on it. But I thought of one as an honorable mention that I wanted to flesh out more as one of my picks, but I didn't get around to it. But I had him as a mention in my head, and I was like, I want to mention.
I like that pick because you can see him learning, and he's like very caring and protective of her.
Yeah,
even though she's not his daughter, but he's really sort of taken her in as his own. I like it. You can see that.
Yeah, and he goes through like this daily routine of like taking her to school and whatnot, and having fun and just like drawing and making food, and he starts to be a better person than what he was because he was just like this guard dog.
Yeah,
who would just he would bark at the sign of a command, that would be handed to him, and he would just go do it. But then like with her, he opens up his own feelings and what he feels like and how protective he can be. And find that really really caring and emotional and really quality like father tendencies, that I'm seeing with him. And how would he be like with his own daughter, or if he had a daughter or something like that? If he did, or son. I mean, and just you see that in him, and the lengths he would go if she ever got hurt.
Yeah.
And you see that in the show. So if you thought I mentioned that, I didn't have a lot to say, but Yakuza Guide to Babysitting, that's another one. So
excellent. I'm down to my last dad.
Go on.
Gunther from Ascendance of a Bookworm.
Oh man, I forgot about this.
Yeah. Father of mine. Not like my child, but that's her name.
Where have you been?
A family man through and through. He's a bit childish himself, but that seems to be normal for dads. Mm-hmm. Even in real life. He loves his children dearly, and will talk about them to anyone and everyone. Being a captain for the city, he works hard not only to protect the city, but his family as well. So much so that he is willing to die for them. He tries his best to get his children whatever they want, Mm-hmm. Which in itself is not a thing that makes a great dad, but you can see how much he wants to keep them happy and healthy and safe. And I think all put together, he is a great dad.
I think that shows a lot to, like, he wants to protect the city, thus protecting his family.
Yeah.
I like that, because he's, like, the captain of some watchtower gate or something, so really like that as a sign. And
absolutely.
I like, that is one I did not even gloss over.
I had a feeling that you wouldn't think about it.
I was like, oh man, I forgot about Gunther, because he's such a great character, and I love the whole story with Mine. Yeah. And
you can see how devastated he is when he learns that Mine, her own powers is going to kill her. And
her knowledge.
Not just her knowledge, but she has this magic thing inside her.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Which is the reason why the original Mine dies. Right?
Yeah, that's the reveal. Sorry, spoiler alert. The original, it's an isekai.
It's an isekai. She doesn't really reincarnate, but she gets put into the body of this
kind of like Rudius from Jobless.
Yeah, I guess so. Except that was a whole miscarriage situation, so it wasn't a real fleshed out human being before.
Very true. She's still very young though. What, she was 3 or 4?
She was 3 or 4.
Yeah, and apparently I really like the world building in that show, just because they say people start working at a certain age and stuff.
They start apprenticeships at the age of 7. Yeah, sort of like how it was in medieval times. Yeah,
it's very medieval-esque, but has this fantasy medieval kind of world, and I really appreciate it. And I love the idea of so I know we're not talking about Gunther at this point anymore, but I really love the whole world of how rare books are. Mm-hmm. And and she makes, obviously the premise is she's this librarian book owner or bookstore clerk or something, and she loves books. She's always been fascinated with books. She dies one day from obviously the isekai van.
Yeah, she died the first day of her job. She's just she was still young in her first life, and she finally got her dream job. Mm-hmm. First day, before she ever got to work. I think she was killed by a car or something.
Yeah, right? Isekai bus, yeah. The isekai car, Yeah. Exactly. And then she knows how to make paper through, and so she wants to make paper, and that kind of spins off this entire story. That she wants to the whole business side of things. It kind of reminds me of with Spice and Wolf, with how trading and bartering goes, and that really gave me a lot of vibes with Ascendance of the Bookworm, how she would trade and barter. And make contracts and stuff with some of the storekeepers around the town, and they would and she was very knowledgeable in that, and it's she's a 30-year-old trapped inside a 8-year-old,
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. But yeah, Gunther, really good pick for her father, and the lengths he would go to help not just her, because I think she has 2 other siblings.
Yeah. I think an older
and then
sister
a baby on the way. I think was the other thing. So he had 3 kids. He has 3 other kids.
2 other kids.
2 other kids. Okay, so really good choice. I like that one. We got into a whole spun on the whole premise of the show. I love that show.
I think you see how hard it was for the whole family, but especially for the dad. the sacrifices he did have to make in order to keep mine alive,
Yeah, the lengths he would go.
which meant, like,
Being in debt, too.
for one, yeah, that, but having to let her go and be adopted by somebody else.
That's like season 3.
I know,
I
right?
forgot about-
Spoilers! But it's like, it's such a heart-wrenching thing.
It is. It's a very emotional scene where
But
he's-
in order to protect her and everything, that's something that had to be done.
Exactly. I think...
And to protect the rest of his family as well.
Yeah.
So-
That's a good father right there.
Right?
Good
Oh,
choice.
God.
Did not even think of that. Who's your simp?
That's a tough one.
Don't say Joseph Joestar.
No, you would give me shit if I said that. So, like either Kakushi Goto or
Yes.
Ryoji Fujioka.
Oh man, that's neck and neck.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
having trouble picking between the two.
If I had to simp for any of your picks, it would be Kashiko Goto.
Yeah.
Not that Orin High School Host Club is. I mean, him. I think he does a great
You
job.
definitely, yeah,
But just
maybe
something
you're right,
about-
Kakushi Goto.
Just something about the dedication. I mean, both of them are dedicated to their craft too, but
Mhm.
just the dedication for Kashiko Goto is like phenomenal. Like
Yeah.
the lengths he would go with his daughter,
Agreed.
just
actually.
to cover the fact that he makes something of an erotic raunchy,
Yeah.
manga, is funny. And there's so many funny moments in that too. I mean, there is some with Orin, but if I had to pick one of your 5, it would be that one. So
Yeah, maybe I'll pick him. Yeah.
what if you picked
As
a
the
list
name.
from mine?
Yeah,
What was
I
a simp for my
thinking-
list?
Probably Akio as well.
Made some good points. He's the
Yeah.
whole
I
package.
thought he was so great. Yeah.
And Sanai. Sanai's great too. The best
She's a great dad.
the best parents in anime I've ever seen is both of them.
Yeah,
And
they're
that's
great.
something that still sticks with me to this day. And
Yeah.
God, that is over 20 years old. Insane. Actually, almost 20 years old. I think. I think that was 2008 or 2007, but
Yeah, it was
very
like a
close.
little
But
while ago.
it's almost 2 decades old at this point, and it's insane.
Yeah.
But good picks, good simps.
Yeah.
Let us know down below what is the best dad in anime for you guys. Let us know, or is it one of them from our picks?
Yeah.
You decide. And what's your simps too? I mean, I guess you guys
Yeah,
can.
tell us your soups. Your
Yeah.
daddy soups.
Your daddy simps. And that's a podcast. If you guys want to leave a review down on Spotify, please do. It's I want to try to like get our Spotify up more. But,
Yeah.
just letting you guys know we're on Spotify, YouTube. Check us out. And I guess we'll see you guys for the next episode of We Be Simpin'. I wanted to tease it just a little bit. I don't want to make any promises yet, but I think we're gonna have a good episode next one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we're gonna watch something and talk all about it.
Oh.
I don't want to make any promises yet until we do it. So
In case it's not the next one, but maybe like a couple episodes.
we'll see. But
Okay.
I think it's gonna be very close. So
Excellent.
excited for that one, and I know you know, but
Oh, yeah.
not the audience. And let's
No.
keep it a little hush hush
Let's
for
keep it
now.
a little
But,
hush.
well, we'll see you guys for the next one.
Yes.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
No.
All right. Well, get us out of here.
Ja, mata.